This is the promises made, promises immediately broken administration. The core value for Donald Trump in this presidency is clearly betrayal of his own voters, and they are certainly feeling it. And they are also feeling it when their representatives turn their backs on them, which is what we consistently see, and it's why we consistently see boos from MAGA, not just of these horrible MAGA majority GOP House members, but also of Donald Trump. And we saw a lot of that when Congressman Jim McGovern not only called out one of those humiliating MAGA congressmen for just an absolutely stupid thing that he had to say on the House floor, but also pointed out that Donald Trump's own supporters are being hurt by his latest action. Trump is furious. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into the Trump supporters that are waking up to this new reality, first, I want to check out Jim McGovern calling out MAGA. Two different clips right here.
Well, in the spirit of bipartisanship, I encourage my Democrat colleagues to join me in support of this resolution to protect and champion hundreds of blue-collar American jobs in the heart of our country. And to my Republican colleagues, let's join together as a team and end this war on hydrocarbons now. President Trump's White House has explicitly endorsed this resolution, and I urge all of my Republican colleagues to join us and vote for this critical legislation to empower consumer choice and champion American manufacturing. And I'll close by saying we expect this vote later this week. I hope everyone in this House joins me in support of this legislation in defense of blue-collar American workers. Thank you. I yield.
I reserve.
The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we're here talking about billions of dollars of cuts to Medicaid and cuts to school meals and food for children, and this guy's talking about tankless water heaters. I mean, read the room. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, it looks like facts and truth have absolutely no place in this administration or in this Republican Party. We already knew that this administration lies like a rug. First, we heard that the United States was sending $50 million worth of condoms to Hamas, which was a lie. Then we heard it was Ukraine that started the war, not Russia. Another lie. Then we heard the terrible plane crash here in Washington happened because of diversity programs. Also a lie. Now the gentlelady from Indiana wants us to believe that not a single thing in the budget she is arguing for is going to hurt anyone at all. That there isn't a single tax giveaway to billionaires in their budget. But guess what, Mr. Speaker? It's simply not accurate. But we all saw this coming. We did. I mean, last month, Trump's inauguration, who was in the front row? It wasn't people on Medicaid. It wasn't factory workers. It wasn't nurses or teachers or firefighters. It wasn't even his own cabinet. It was the richest people in the world. And that is who this Republican budget helps. It steals from taxpayers and funnels the money to those at the very top. Imagine stealing from school meals for kids so that billionaires can get another tax giveaway. Last night in the Rules Committee, the gentlelady claimed, oh, no, Democrats can't prove there are any cuts in this budget. Except, Mr. Speaker, we can. We can. And let me lay it out as simply as I can for people. The Republican budget cuts, for example, $330 billion from programs related to education. And the same guy who wrote this budget, the chair of the Budget Committee, Mr. Arrington, also wrote this document, Mr. Speaker, this document right here, which I have in front of me, which says in black and white that those education cuts include $12 billion from school meals. How dare you? And I'm sorry that she doesn't like these facts, but they are facts. And school meals are just one example. This budget makes deep cuts to Medicaid, including long-term care, deep cuts to food assistance for hungry families, deep cuts to Pell Grants. And these cuts are going to hurt people. So I would just ask the gentlelady a simple question. Whose side are you on? Does she want to stand with the school kids in her district who rely on school meals to get through the day? Or does she side with the billionaires who are getting another tax giveaway in this budget? Does she stand with the 178,119 constituents in her district that are on Medicaid? Does she stand with the thousands and thousands of kids in her district who rely on school meals? Or does she stand with the greedy corporations who are price gouging struggling families? I know where I stand, Mr. Speaker, and we are going to fight like hell to oppose this awful Republican budget because we know whose side we're on. And we're going to fight like our constituents' lives depend on it, because they do. And with that, I reserve my time. Gentlemen.
Farmers hit by a federal funding freeze scrambled to respond ahead of spring thaw. Many farmers made investments based on Agriculture Department funding that the Trump administration has put on hold. Some are in financial peril. Farmers across the U.S. are struggling to make critical decisions ahead of the spring thaw as billions of dollars in promised federal payments remain frozen by the Trump administration. Andrew Roell, a farmer and beekeeper in Massachusetts, had planned to begin installing deer-proofing fence, mulch, and an irrigation system for a recently planted orchard, an initiative supported by more than $30,000 in federal grants that are now on hold. On his first day of office, President Trump issued an executive order that paused the distribution of all funds linked to President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which included $19.5 billion in agriculture-related conservation programs. The Trump administration also froze funds related to a separate $3.1 billion investment in climate-smart farm projects made under Biden. The frozen funding was set to support projects including rotational grazing systems to improve soil health, waterways to reduce erosion, the installation of solar panels, and conversion from diesel to electric irrigation systems. Thousands of farmers have made plans and investments based on the promised funding, leaving some in financial peril, according to several groups that support farmers. Now, of course, we know that farmers are a demographic that overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump. And not only are their farms in potential financial peril, but think about the rest of the economy that exists around farming. It's not just that those farmers were planning to purchase new materials or install new systems, it's that they were getting purchased from American companies. That's why we are seeing economists predict that there will be negative growth in the economy because Donald Trump is cutting off so much important funding. What is it? 80% of the money that we spend supporting Ukraine is directly invested into manufacturing and jobs in America. It is a benefit to us that Donald Trump is taking away. This is the guy who's talking about how great he is on the economy. It is an absolute sham. It's just not true. And it's the reason I want to return to what Jim McGovern had to say in a different committee hearing, calling out Donald Trump right here.
Farmers tell me that uncertainty complicates and frustrates their livelihoods, and we're living in a time of great uncertainty. And just for the record, I don't think we can pretend like the last 3 weeks haven't even happened. We can't ignore what this administration is saying and doing. Mr. Chairman, the state of the rural economy in this country is declining by the minute because Donald Trump has decided to let Elon Musk put billionaires first and America last. I mean, come on. Tariffs against our closest allies and ag trading partners, gutting science programs while bird flu rips through poultry and livestock, freezing money that has been promised to farmers for ongoing projects. Do my colleagues really think these are good for rural America? Trying to illegally purge the career staff at USDA, who we all know try to help rural communities. Demagoguing programs that provide a legal immigrant workforce for our farmers. Destroying global food aid programs that our farmers rely on every day to sell what they grow and produce. These things are not America first. These are policies of people who do not care about rural America at all. So let me just say this as clearly as I can, Mr. Chairman. The rural economy of this country is in big trouble unless things change. Now let me make this as simple as I can for people. USAID purchases $2 billion, that's billion with a B, worth of U.S. commodities every year. Grown by who? Grown by American farmers. That's soybeans, rice, wheat, sorghum, the vast majority of which are grown not in my district, but in your districts, in red states, in many of your districts. And then some weirdo named Elon, who's probably never set foot on a farm in his life, just decided to end it all, to eliminate entire markets for our commodity growers while prices are already low. And spare me the rebuttal of, quote, food aid was exempted from Elon's shutdown. That's BS. We are hearing from people on the front lines that is BS. Even the USAID Office of the Inspector General just said yesterday, and I quote, uncertainty about the scope of foreign assistance waivers and permissible communications with implementers has degraded USAID's ability to distribute and safeguard taxpayer-funded humanitarian assistance, end quote. So more than 475,000 metric tons of American food commodities valued at $450 million that were scheduled or in transit are now at risk of being wasted. And more than 29,000 metric tons of food commodities valued at $39 million are sitting on the floor of USAID warehouses in Houston. And I'm hearing reports that the so-called waiver of food aid is not helpful because these waivers are impossible to obtain. The freeze is already having dramatic consequences on rural communities. Companies that buy massive amounts of soy and peanuts to treat childhood malnutrition are shutting down. And these shutdowns are going to hit rural America like a ton of bricks. So I'm just saying to my Republican colleagues, is this what America First means to you? Sticking it to your own farmers by ripping the rug out from under them? Great job. I'm sure you'll go on TV talking about how great Trump is while he totally screws over the people we represent. So with that, I have a question for Mr. Weinzierl that I hope you can answer quickly. A simple yes or no is fine. If USAID is successfully dismantled and stops buying commodities for global food aid at over $2 billion, would that have a ripple effect on the farm economy, and do you think it would create uncertainty for our farmers?
I do. I am not an expert in this area. There are a couple programs in USAID that I do see of value, which you've mentioned. One, the commodities, soy, and there's actually a corn-soy mix. I don't know if the amount there would be effective of the price, but I think that's important.
Right. But
this is why I consistently say we have to point out the fact that MAGA is just dumb. These people do not understand how a program works until they break it. And when they do, it costs people their jobs, their lives, their farms, their financial stability. How can these people ever trust the government again if they have the rug yanked out from under them? How? What type of country are we building if that's how people feel? But it's how Donald Trump wants people to feel. He wants them to be distrustful of government. He wants them to be distrustful of institutions. He wants them to think that Doge in some twisted way or their attacks on all of our institutions is good because those institutions end up hurting them. But they only feel that way because of how Republicans attack those institutions. This is scary, and this is real, and there will be real effects, and we have to call it out. We're going to be every single day on the show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.